1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the first order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. Y'all, you have no idea how stoked I am to be back behind a mic after being off last week, and it being for this episode right here, right now. I am stoked. It's going to be such a great night. Let's get introductions out of the way. My name is Aaron Harris. And of course, joining me as always, he is the Chewbacca to my Han, the David Motters. David, brother, what's up?
Well, this, I realize you're going to be in your glory for this interview. And I'm excited too. I'm happy when you're happy. And so this interview here is going to be just extra special for you. And for me, even more groaners. So, but I'm still excited.
Oh, so am I. So let's get this party started. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Well, everybody, if you have been listening to our show over the last few weeks, you have heard me at the end of every show refer to a upcoming book, which is now released, Star Wars Dad Jokes, as I do my Dad Joke of the Week. And to be honest, I've got my hands on the book. I have spent hours laughing as I've poured through this book. It has just been so much fun. And I know it's probably, David's probably been enjoying it too in his own way. Cause I know he's the groaner for my books, or my jokes, I should say. So, but this is awesome. So we are so excited to have the opportunity tonight to sit down and chat with the author of Star Wars Dad Jokes, Kelly Knox. Kelly, welcome to Star Wars Reactions.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Oh, well, we love having you on. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for such a fun book.
I'm so glad you like it. Yay.
I am loving this. I've honestly probably poured through it more times than I should have, going through all these jokes and just having so much fun. So let's go ahead and jump in. I got to know, because, Star Wars, there's so many books and so many stuff out with Star Wars. How did the idea of a dad joke book come up for Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, it's a rather specific idea, I guess, the more I've thought about it since it's come out. And it was a wild set of circumstances that led to it. If anybody listening followed me on Twitter, you would know that I started telling Star Wars dad jokes during lockdown in 2020. It was just some random Sunday morning. I was in a bad mood because I was doom scrolling Twitter. I was tired of everything being, doom and gloom and uncertainty. So I decided, I'm just going to put something stupid on there to maybe give somebody a smile. Like that was the bar I set, right? And so I told a classic dad joke, but I put a Star Wars spin on it because that's something that I just like to do personally. I just love Star Wars, and it was a nice, easy fit for me, or combination for me to make. And so it wasn't like an instant viral hit. It was just a dumb little chuckle I think a few people got, but I decided because I needed the distraction myself in the middle of lockdown, I decided to start doing a joke a day. And I think I lasted a year and a half, maybe, where I did one a day. And some very nice people would say, this should be a book one day. And eventually Lucasfilm said, hey, this should be a book one day. And so they got me in touch with the editor at Chronicle Books. And that's really where it came from. It's a very unusual process for a book. I've written quite a few now, Star Wars books and Marvel books. None of them have ever started like this. So it's definitely out of the ordinary.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I've read it cover to cover, every joke, and I got to the back, okay, and it's kind of interesting, like where they put like the dedication and stuff, and you have, for my dad, thank you for being you, and I thought that was so cool, and I was curious, like when I read that, like I wondered, like. Did you get a sense of humor from him? Does he have a good sense of humor? Your mom, I don't know. Is it more dad than mom, or how does
I
that?
wouldn't. That's a good question. Nobody's asked me so far about the dedication. That's actually because my dad, he's actually not like super outgoing. He doesn't tell jokes. He's very reserved. And so he always kind of gets embarrassed if you thank him for something. So instead of saying you're welcome, he says, thank you for being you, like every single time. And so like that's just his automatic response because he's embarrassed. Hopefully he doesn't hear this. And so that just kind of became his phrase. And so I really wanted to make sure that I echoed that back to him in the dedication. So yeah, no, I don't know where I got my horrible cheesy sense of humor from.
Well, it works and it's great.
Okay.
And I love it because trust me, as from somebody who sits down each week and tries to come up with a dad joke for the show, this book will help a lot, but I understand the struggle of trying to come up and put stuff together for these jokes. So I'm curious because I know writing them is not easy. How did you get in the right mindset to get these jokes, to come up with all these jokes as through the creative process?
So jokes would come from a few different methods, I guess, or sources. Sometimes it was just a name would be funny to me, and I would write it down and just, look at it once in a while, kind of sound it out to myself. Some jokes are based on classic dad jokes that I just kind of gave a Star Wars twist because, they're my favorites anyway. When my daughter was in elementary school, I used to handwrite dad jokes on a Post-it and put it in her lunchbox every day. I did that, which I think is why I had dad jokes on the brain, because I was doing it at the time in 2020. And so I already had like a pretty good idea of how to put, not really how to put one together, but how they sound, what makes a dad joke. And so those kind of basis, I kept seeing the same ones over and over again. So some of those would be the basis to make it kind of Star Warsy. And then other jokes, I looked at idioms or turns of phrase. Like I think my favorite joke in there was, how does Darth Vader keep his Star Destroyer warm with a space heater? And I actually started by looking up, phrases with space or, idioms with space. And then I somewhere in there I saw space heater, and then I would turn that into a joke. So that's the best I can explain for how to start coming up with a good pun or a joke. Well, a good/bad pun or joke.
I'm going to go to the next question because I know you want this next one. So he does have to ask the next one. He definitely does. So, one of the things that Aaron and I both love about this is the artwork and how much it complements the jokes so well. And, I'd heard your response to Dan Z on Coffee with Kenobi, but I was just curious, I think it's really important for our listeners to hear it as well, because I really loved what you had to say about that and the process of you writing it and so forth. But what were your reactions when you were seeing Johnny Sampson's artwork for the first time?
So the way the process in the book worked out, we didn't get to work directly together. We worked through the editor. And so I had written all the jokes and they had sent them along to him. And I believe he kind of, got to look through and see what inspired him. And so I did not see the illustrations until they were pretty much done. And I laughed so hard when I saw them. Johnny Simpson he's brilliant. I love what he did. It was so nice to see somebody take the jokes and then like how he interpreted them or what mental picture it gave him. Like it was just the best feeling when I saw those for the first time. So I was really glad that he had been paired up. I know he used to work on Mad Magazine and some other places, so he's really talented. He's really like a veteran of humor illustrations, and I feel so lucky that he worked on this book. He did the amazing cover with the face, the best expression on Luke Skywalker's face I've ever seen, where he's just kind of like looking at Darth Vader in disgust. It's really, really great.
The cover is wonderful, and the art works great. I think the one that caught me off guard that I laughed the hardest on was the two stormtroopers reading the book How to Aim. I mean, I saw that and I just died. It's just, the book is just gold between the jokes and the art. I mean,
the art's so good.
it is so good. It is so good. But so are the jokes too. So they make the book. I mean, you can't have one without the other. So they're phenomenal. But I'm curious. I'm curious though, because I know we've talked about the writing process and how you did jokes on Twitter, now X, for all through 2020 for about a year and a half, and I was curious about the process when you came time to select the jokes for the book. Did you pull them all from that Twitter feed, or did you have to come up with new ones? And how long overall did this process take?
So the book pitch, quote unquote, because like I was saying, it was sort of a weird process, was that when the editor got in touch with me, I sent him what I already had because I had been keeping a spreadsheet from every joke I tweeted. I would just throw it into an Excel spreadsheet every day because I didn't want to repeat the same joke. That's how much of a nerd I am. So I kept it in a spreadsheet and I categorized them, and because that way I could see who I was making fun of the most, which was Admiral Akbar, and you can see that in the book. He cracks me up. So
he's so easy to make fun of.
He's so easy. He's such a great character. And so the editor had that to start, and he picked out a few of his favorites, but I would say that is maybe 10 to 20% would be existing jokes from Twitter that he picked out, and we worked with Lucasfilm to kind of, tweak where we needed to. And then, maybe like 80% was brand new jokes. It's hard to answer how long of a process it was because I was working on 2 other books at the same time. So my morning would be, I have a Marvel Studios encyclopedia coming out. So my mornings would be Marvel and the afternoons would be the joke book. And it was a lot. So It's kind of hard for me to estimate. It was just how the timing had worked out. And so it was months, I believe. And it was a lot of fun to work on, though. It didn't feel so much like work.
Yeah, I can understand that. It would be switching from Marvel to Star Wars, especially jokes in one day would be,
yes.
I can't imagine the.
I had to switch mindsets a lot.
Yeah, that's the struggle is real. The struggle is real.
Well, yeah, no, the question I was going to ask you is, I've followed you and saw a lot of these jokes. And so, one of the things that we wanted to ask was, as a Star Wars fan, you can see that so clearly in your posts and so on. And even before this book came out. And so I was just curious, how did your journey with Star Wars begin?
I was an 80s kid, so we had VHS tapes taped off of HBO that had the original trilogy on them. And so we watched those over and over and over. You couldn't take the movie with you in those days. There was no iPhone or anything like that. And so instead I had to take my Discman with the soundtrack to A New Hope around with me. And it became, that soundtrack in particular became very meaningful and safe to me. Anytime I wanted like an escape or I just needed, to get away to myself, I would put the headphones on and listen to A New Hope. And that's how I would watch the movie, like in my imagination. And so that's why, Star Wars A New Hope is my favorite one. It's the one I have memorized basically thanks to all those years of doing that. And so that was, I started as a fan as a kid. Eventually, through my career, I got to work on a video game called Star Wars Galaxies in the early 2000s, and that was my first professional Star Wars work. And then I went on to freelance for StarWars.com, and now I'm writing books and still freelancing at StarWars.com.
Amazing. Sure. What did you do for Galaxies? Because I remember that game.
Oh, good. I was on the community team, a community manager from 2007 to 2008, I think. So things like the forums, live events, what else? Website features. And so I was already doing some professional Star Wars writing and stuff like that there before I went freelance. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I hadn't thought about that game in a while. I gotta,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm going to have to see if I can find a copy.
I believe that there is a version out there now. You can
I'll have
boot it
to,
up.
I'll have to. It's been a while. If I remember how to play. But fantastic. You have, like you mentioned it a moment ago, you're freelancing StarWars.com. You've done you've written several other books. What does the future hold for Kelly Knox? What's upcoming for you, if you can even talk about it? And is one of them a sequel to the dad joke book?
That would be stressful and awesome, but not yet. I've not heard anything on that, but that would be fun. I still tweet Star Wars jokes, so if you follow me, you'll still get some new ones once in a while. I do have one more book out this year that I was a co-author on. The updated Star Wars Encyclopedia from DK Books is out in October. I've got some unannounced things, but yeah, hopefully I get to keep writing books and writing for StarWars.com, and I do crafts and interviews, like all different kinds of things there for StarWars.com. So that's work that I really enjoy, and I hope to keep doing for as long as they'll let me.
Well, hopefully that will be for a very long time, because we enjoy it. So
Thank you.
absolutely. And we will definitely look forward to the encyclopedia coming out. I heard they were re-releasing that. So that's awesome that you're a part of that. Can't wait to get my hands on that and go through that. Because those are always full of gold nuggets. Yes. So
it's a good team working on that one. So I think you'll be happy with it.
Yay. Well, before we wrap up and do a few things, we wanted to do something fun real quick. We have our whenever we talk to somebody, we like to do what we call a speed round.
Okay.
It's actually just 5 simple questions, 1-word answers for the most part. Some people like to expand. We have no problem with that, but it's made to be just quick, fun, and just to get to know more about the person we're talking to and about their fandom and everything. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. David, take the first one.
All right. Favorite Star Wars movie?
A New Hope.
Yeah, mine too. All right, let's go. Favorite character?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a new change. That used to be Darth Vader, but Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Very cool.
Yes.
All right, here's the next one. Empire or Rebellion?
Oh, Rebellion.
Okay. What is your favorite moment from any of the movies or any of the shows?
My answer to that will always be the binary sunset in A New Hope, where Luke is looking out. I love the music. I love the lighting on Luke. I love that he has no idea his whole world is about to change in the next morning. I just really love that scene, and I think it's just beautiful. So
it's absolutely perfect. That's for sure.
And the last one, favorite soundtrack or song from the Star Wars movies?
This one's very specific. It's Empire Strikes Back. The track is called Escape from Cloud City, I believe, and it's one track that covers Luke hanging on the bottom of Cloud City all the way to the chase and escape on the Falcon. So it's a long piece of music, but it's basically the whole "I am your father" to like the end of the movie. Yeah. So it's a really fun piece to listen to. It's got a little bit of everything in it.
I know which piece you're talking about. That is just a rainbow of Williams' masterpiece.
Yeah, it's got like everybody's theme in it.
Everything. He pulled from everything to knit that one together. It's perfect. Oh, love it. See, not that hard.
Nope. I knew those. I got those.
There we go. Well, of course, I know you mentioned you're on what is now X or Twitter, sharing jokes all the time. If people want to hop on and find you over there on X, Twitter, whatever anybody wants to call it these days, it's a free for all. David calls it Twitter X. So nice. it works, covers all the bases. How would people find you and go about doing that?
Yeah, I'm still very much on Twitter. I never say X, sorry, but still on Twitter, at Kelly_Knox. I'm on Instagram at Kelly Knox, but I don't post there as much. You can find me on StarWars.com, a few other websites. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. And of course, we'll have links to all of that in our show notes. So you'll be able to find her on StarWars.com. You'll be able to find her on social media. And we'll have a link to Amazon where you can find all her books too. So you definitely want to make sure you're checking those out, and definitely grab this dad joke book. It's perfect for any occasion. Dad's, Father's Day's coming up. Pick one up. Be done with your shopping early. That's all I'm saying. So get it while you can. So, of course, we definitely want to wrap things up here. Of course, you know where to find us on social media, everybody. We're on Facebook and Twitter X, as David calls it, at SW Reactions Pod. We're on Instagram. We're on, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Carabast.
Tumblr, Threads,
yeah.
Sky.
Yep, there you go. TikTok and YouTube and everywhere at SW Reactions. So there we go. So check us out there. You can find David on Facebook, or excuse me, on X, Twitter X, as he calls it, at David_Modders, and Instagram at David Modders. And find me on Twitter at TA Harris 121079. Let us know what you think. Let us know. But, we can't end a show talking to the author of Star Wars Dad Jokes without actually doing the Dad Joke of the Week on this special edition of the show. And, since we have you, Kelly, I want to do this a little different. Normally we just do one joke and wrap the show up. But since you're here and we're talking about this incredible book, I was thinking we could all share our favorite joke from the book. So if everybody's game for that, I'll go first.
Okay.
All right.
So this one, I don't know why this one just struck me, but every time I read it, it cracks me up. And I think it's a combination of the joke and the art that is right next to it.
Mhm.
So this one is, my favorite one is, what do you call a gloomy droid?
What?
A wobot.
No.
And the art is perfect.
So sad.
I know.
Poor sad droid.
Yes.
David, how about you, brother?
Yes, because we're going to have the author go last, and she's going to save the best for last. So this was not easy to do, Kelly. There's here. I'm like, oh, that one. But this one hit me because I'm like Aaron. A New Hope is my favorite. I saw it in theaters, and I know you've talked about Return of the Jedi in theaters and all that. But this ties into something from my childhood as well. You combine two different worlds, and from the 1960s, and here it is. What's the official dance of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? What do you think?
What is it, David?
The Batusi. Just love that. I can just see Adam West. Oh my gosh, when you did this, Kelly, I just loved it because, again, growing up as a kid watching Adam West and Burt Ward,
Yeah.
the good fortune of getting their autographs and meeting them as a kid. And so when I saw this, Aaron and I were fortunate enough to go to Galaxy's Edge in Orlando just prior to it opening. We have a good friend there. And so our love for Galaxy's Edge and my love for the 1966 Batman, when I saw this, hands down the winner.
Yay.
So, Kelly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, like David said, we saved the best for last.
Right.
So, Kelly, what is your favorite joke?
I think I might have already said it, so I'll say my second favorite. Why did Leia change her hairstyle on Hoth? Because she was freezing her buns off. And it also has a really great picture. This is one of the first pictures I saw that really killed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Leia there.
Yeah.
Yes, that picture. Love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good.
This has been so much fun. I absolutely love the book. You will love the book too. So pick it up wherever you get books. And if you have nowhere to get books, click the link in the show notes and go get it from Amazon. You will enjoy it just as much as we do. So, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us on Star Wars Reactions. We greatly appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime you like. We could just sit around and swap dad jokes. We'll make it a special. But definitely we appreciate you coming on and joining us. It has been a pleasure. David, my friend, this has been a blast as always.
I love it. Love being on. Kelly, thank you so much for taking the time, and we appreciate you and we love your jokes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you everybody for listening. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.